Big Tech has cut over 630,000 jobs since 2022.
So many people left other jobs and careers that seemed to be floundering to learn things like coding. That was the job of the future, right? Now they're hearing they're going to be replaced by AI.
Software engineers were hit the hardest. They made up nearly 1 in 5 tech layoffs in 2023, even though they accounted for just 14% of the workforce. The slowdown is clear in hiring too. Job postings for developer roles on Indeed are still 30% below pre-pandemic levels. Not long ago, being a software engineer was like holding a golden ticket. These were the people who built the apps, websites, and tools we use every day. Companies offered them sky-high salaries that few other professions could match. If you knew how to code, your future looked secure. But that is in the past. Now, software engineers are losing their jobs at an alarming rate.
There was a time when it felt like being a software coder was an instant job, and now we're hearing that maybe you're at risk from AI, and I think you are.
Talking about how we used to tell our kids, hey, if you major in computer science, you'll be good to go, and now those graduates are having a hard time finding jobs.
What's changed is that AI has advanced to the point where it can now handle many of the tasks software engineers were once essential for, and it often does them faster, cheaper, and in some cases, better. Projects that used to take teams of developers weeks to complete can now be done in minutes by a machine. This shift is changing everything.
Amazon CEO Andy Jassy says artificial intelligence will lead to a reduction of its corporate workforce eventually.
While AI has already replaced many software engineering roles, most companies still depend on a small group of experts to guide, oversee, and correct the work that AI generates. But as AI continues to improve at a rapid pace, the big question is, how much longer will even those remaining coding jobs exist? Magazines like US News and World Report often ranked software engineering as the #1 career in the country. People in the industry didn't just earn high salaries, they also enjoyed generous bonuses, stock options, and perks that most jobs couldn't offer.
#1 again this year. It was #1 last year and the year before. And Google has everything, free food everywhere, a Wi-Fi enabled free shuttle.
Back in 2019, there were already over 1.5 million software developers working in the United States, and experts predicted that number would grow by more than 20% by 2029. Unfortunately, the opposite is happening. In recent months, many of the world's largest tech companies have openly acknowledged their growing use of AI to write code. These tools aren't just helping developers work faster, they're beginning to replace them entirely. Amazon CEO Andy Jassy recently revealed that the company now uses over 1,000 AI tools internally. These systems handle everything from inventory management to writing and testing code, reducing the need for human workers to perform the same tasks.
With AI, entire design departments, even coders are being supplanted.
At Meta, Mark Zuckerberg was even more direct. He stated that, in the near future, most of the company's code will be written by AI rather than human engineers. In fact, Meta is already planning for half of its entire code base to be generated by AI within the next year.
In the next year, probably, maybe half the development is going to be done by AI.
Salesforce, another major tech company, has significantly slowed down its hiring of software developers. The reason? AI tools have made their existing engineers up to 30% more productive, meaning they now need fewer people to write the same amount of code. These aren't just experiments or early tests. These changes are happening right now in real companies, with real consequences for those working in software development.
And so I'd say maybe 20-30% of the code that is inside of our repos today in some of our projects are probably all written by software.
Even some of the most respected voices in tech are changing how they write code. Andrej Karpathy, formerly of OpenAI and Tesla, now refers to his new approach as vibe coding. In simple terms, it means giving the AI a natural language prompt, letting it generate the code, and then making tweaks as needed. As Karpathy puts it, he no longer plans out every line of code. He just tells the AI what he wants, and it handles most of the heavy lifting. Many young companies are now building their products with code that's almost entirely written by AI. A recent report revealed that 25% of new startups from the Y Combinator program are already using code bases that are 95% AI generated. These tools are writing software, testing it, migrating old code to modern platforms, and even responding to technical issues in real time. By mid-2025, the tech world had shifted so quickly that many didn't see it coming. Giants like Microsoft, Google, Meta and Salesforce announced major layoffs, with over 110,000 software developers losing their jobs worldwide. These are the same companies that once hired thousands of engineers each year. Now, they're cutting teams, shrinking departments, and in some cases, offering buyouts to make room for AI.
Microsoft's layoff spree seems to be far from over, as the tech giant doubles down on artificial intelligence.
That legacy roles are being phased out, may be phased out, to make room for different skills and different priorities.
A software engineer recently shared that within just 6 months, their team stopped hiring for simple coding roles. AI tools had made the existing teams so much faster and more efficient, they simply didn't need more hands. This shift is hitting entry-level positions the hardest. These roles once made up about 30% of all tech jobs. Now it's down to just 20% and still falling. Fewer people are getting their first break into tech, and the entire career path is becoming increasingly uncertain. Even senior engineers, those with years of experience, aren't safe. Many are being forced to completely change how they work. Instead of writing code themselves, they now prompt AI to do it and review the results. It might sound like an upgrade, but for many, it's a stressful shift. The work feels less creative, more mechanical. Some are doing their best to adapt, but others feel like the job they once loved is slowly disappearing. While most attention is on job losses, those still employed are facing a different challenge: rising dissatisfaction. Many developers say using AI tools like Copilot or ChatGPT makes coding feel like working on an assembly line. Instead of building software creatively, they're rushing to complete tasks. Teams at companies like Amazon report that coding has become repetitive and robotic. Developers feel they're losing the opportunity to think deeply and solve meaningful problems. Now, much of their time is spent reviewing AI-generated code, fixing minor errors, and chasing down bugs that appear out of nowhere.
I'm not sure how technical you need to be anymore. I mean, we had a quarter of the companies in the current batch say that AI basically wrote all of their code.
A detailed study by GitClear, which analyzed 211 million lines of code, revealed a troubling trend. Technical debt is growing 8 times faster on teams that rely heavily on AI-generated code. Duplicated code is also 8 times more common. So while AI may speed up code production, developers are now spending 50% more time reviewing and fixing that code. The hard work hasn't disappeared. It's just shifted to a different, often more frustrating, part of the process. The quality of work is a concern shared by many older or more experienced developers who once enjoyed writing clean, elegant code. These senior programmers now feel disappointed and frustrated. They say they are being forced to spend their most focused hours fixing AI mistakes instead of building something new or exciting. Job openings for software engineers in the US have fallen to their lowest level in 5 years, down by more than a third compared to 2019. While part of this decline is tied to post-pandemic shifts, a major factor is the rise of AI, which is now handling many routine coding tasks. CEOs like Mark Benioff and Andy Jassy have publicly praised AI for reducing the need for traditional software engineers. As a result, entry-level opportunities are shrinking rapidly, and if the trend continues, half of those roles could disappear within just a few years.
Hiring of new graduates at the big tech companies has declined by more than 50% since 2022.
The shrinking job market has also slowed salary growth. The days when engineers could count on massive yearly pay raises, often described as the industry's gold rush, are largely over. Entry-level roles are especially vulnerable, as companies see them as the easiest to replace. This mirrors patterns seen in other industries like manufacturing and customer service, where automation took over basic tasks, wages stagnated, and jobs gradually disappeared. Now the big question is no longer if the industry is changing, but what happens next. Many are now asking, what does the future of software engineering look like? The answer seems clear. Human engineers will still have a role, but it will look very different. Rather than writing all the code themselves, they'll act more as supervisors, architects, or testers, ensuring that AI-generated code is accurate, efficient, and aligned with real-world needs.
In a year that AI's role expands. Our chief business correspondent, Rebecca Jarvis, is here with the story. I don't know how good.
Experts like GitHub CEO Thomas Dohmke and and analysts from the pragmatic engineer agree that experienced developers will still be in demand, especially those who can lead teams, design complex systems, and collaborate effectively with AI. While basic coding tasks are being automated, there's still a strong need for engineers who can see the bigger picture, people who can tackle complex problems, make strategic decisions, and guide AI tools toward meaningful outcomes. Still, a great deal of uncertainty remains. Will there be enough new roles to replace the ones being lost? Can the current workforce adapt quickly enough? These questions don't have clear answers yet. What is clear, however, is that the world of software engineering is evolving faster than anyone expected. And for those entering the field, the most valuable skill may no longer be writing perfect code, but learning how to work alongside the machines that now write it for us. Unfortunately, job security for even the most experienced engineers isn't guaranteed for long. AI tools are advancing rapidly, not only becoming smarter, but also more accessible to non-experts. While they currently assist with basic tasks, they're quickly moving toward handling more complex work like system design and debugging difficult issues. The very skills that once made human engineers indispensable are now being replicated by machines. If this trend continues, even the most advanced coding jobs may no longer be safe.